Good evening, friends. Zach here from the Trading Network. I hope you guys are doing well and that you're ready for another great week ahead in the markets. It is Sunday evening, so that means it is time for yet another weekly market profile forecast. Tonight, we are going to be discussing the ES and NQ futures markets. We're also going to take a look at the session profiles, as well as the weekly and probably some daily candlestick charts as well. I'll give you guys some good levels to look at moving forward into the week. And before we get started, I want to just ask you guys, if you do find this content valuable, please like, subscribe, and click that bell notification to be notified every single time that we post videos here on the channel. With that said, let's get started. All right, so first and foremost, let's dig into some NQ session profile. What I'm going to be paying attention to most importantly is going to be reaction from Thursday's or reaction to Thursday's profile, of course, as Friday was a short day. It was an early close. So there was no New York session on Friday. So that means the most important levels, or the really only levels that we have most recently from a regular trading hour session, are going to be from last Thursday. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And that is going to be what we need to pay attention to moving forward into the beginning of the week. So a reaction to Thursday's high at 13,190 is going to be very important. If we can move and hold above that, I think it's likely we get a move up to what is this? This is going to be the April 4th into 5th overnight session, and that level is going to be 13,247, which is the overnight high from that session right there. So if we can move and hold above, call it 13,190. I'll be looking for, obviously we've got to work through the overnight POC, which is lining up with the April 4th regular trading hours POC as well at 13,228. So that would be first order of business right here at 13,228, and then up to 13,250, call it. And if we get acceptance above that, very likely a test of this value area high here at 13,258. So with that said, those are some close upside levels. You know, we're at 146 right now, so that's only 100 points away, and Q can do that in a matter of seconds or minutes, depending on the market activity. So that's where I'm looking further upside. If you guys want another couple levels to keep an eye on, look at 13,278, and then I would be looking at the high from the April 4th regular trading hours session at 13,326. So keep an eye on those levels. If we do get some upside pressure, that's where we are likely headed. Now, on the flip side, if we do not get accepted above Thursday's high and the Thursday evening overnight high at 13,192, basically right around the same area. There's good confluence there, these two levels. Then I think it's very likely, first and foremost, we get a test of 13,122. 122 breaks to the downside. Look for a move to 13,088. That's the value area high from April 5th, regular trading hour session. And just a handful of points below that, we've got the 5th into 6th overnight high at 1379. But I would be thinking that price is likely going to be gravitating towards this value area low from Thursday at 13,040, because that is going to be a very impactful level. If we break 79, look for, I would say, at least another 40-point move down to 13,039, which is, once again, the value area low from Thursday. That is the April 6th value area low. Break below that likely gets us a move very quickly into the value area low from last Wednesday, the low from last Wednesday, the overnight low from Wednesday into Thursday at 12,985. And then if 985 breaks, look for a move down into Thursday's regular trading hours low at 12,953. So that is the story for the NQ session profile. So let's zoom out a little bit. We'll head on over to the NQ weekly profile, and we'll discuss some more higher time frame levels or more macro areas that you guys can pay attention to. You can see right now we are currently trading at 13,146. So our most important macro levels or weekly profile levels to me are going to be 13,082, which is the weekly high from March 20th, the week of March 20th. Just below that, we've got the value area high from the week of March 27th, and then we have the value area low from last week at 13,073. So just a note or an idea structure-wise is that our value area has flipped, or value has moved up significantly, right? You can see here, just to make things quite clear, let's see if I can do this here. So here is the value area from the week of March 20th, right? It was between 12,734 and 12,994. Then the value area high slightly moved up and the value area low slightly moved down. So we had more overlapping value, which is balanced price action. That means that there is not a ton of conviction, so to speak, and the market is trying to find which side is going to take control. Then you can see that we did, in my opinion, get that happening last week, where the value area high from the prior week of March 27th at 13,060 flipped, and that is now the value area low from this most recent week at 13,073. So when the value area moves up like that, that is a visual representation of the market saying, okay, well, if the area where 70% of the buyers are in any given session, or in this case, any given week, is moving up, that means that the market is generally finding a higher price as fair value, which means, that the market is bullish, right? And if, for example, this week, the value area moves down, right? Let's say our value area high moves down and our value area low moves down, and our value low for this week was below the low of last week. Hypothetically, that would mean that behavior is changing because value is now moving back down. The market is seeing this as no longer a fair price, and they are viewing that area as too expensive. So that is something that you guys can pay attention to if you have access to the profile. Watch value. If value is overlapping like this, if there's value areas that are stacked and engulfing, right? That is a balanced market. If the value area is moving up, that is a bullish market. If the value area is moving down, that is a bearish market. So overall, we have to pay close attention, but this structure is pretty darn bullish, right? If you have a prior value area high in the next week become the value area low, that's a good sign. Bulls are at least in control in that time. So with that said, if we do not hold, at least remain, have value area in this area. If we have overlapping value, that's fine because, price could consolidate for a while. But if you see value go down, especially, if we break last week's low, we have this lurking naked POC down here at 12,689. So that is quite a ways away from where we are right now, but do not count NQ out of anything. So I just wanted to point that out. These could be left here for a very long time. We could continue on our uptrend, who knows? But I think it's important just to point that out because those are really areas that not a lot of people will be looking at, especially if we do get, some serious downside this week. Now, if we do get upside and we get acceptance first and foremost above the point of control from last week, which is also the monthly volume composite point of control. So 13,223, call it 13,220. That was not only the area where the most trading took place last week, but it was also, it's the area where the most trading has taken place in the entire month, not just this month of April, but the last month of price action. So that is an important thing to keep in mind, as if we can move and hold above this, then we're very likely going to get a move back up to 13,290 and 13,326, and very likely, obviously, with a stop at 13,311. So I believe that 13,290 was also a level here. Let me see. This is what I was thinking of. So this area, this 13,311, this is the high of the March 31st regular trading hours session. And then we have the value area high just below that at 13,305. So there is significant confluence in this area right here with last week's weekly value area high at 293 and the prior weekly high at 311. So this zone, so to speak, is going to be very, very important. If we can move and hold above that, then we will be moving into, very likely, some levels that I discussed last week from the weekly candlestick chart, which I will move over into very quickly here. So let's actually just do that right now. Let's go on over to the NQ weekly since I've got it pulled up. And you can see, the structure is very, very interesting here because we did not obviously put in a local top. But if we do get a close below the low of this bar right here, which is 12,953, a weekly close below 12,953 confirms a local top on the weekly and very likely gets us further downside pressure. Now, with that said, we could pull back all the way down to technically like 11,970-ish, and it still would not violate this prior higher low. So that is completely within the realm of possibility. And that is also in the realm of possibility of us staying bullish with that happening. So I'm not making a prediction that price is going to come all the way back here. I'm just saying we could have a very large pullback, 1,000+ points, and still maintain this bullish structure. So keep in mind, that is a scenario, but most importantly, I'm just going to be watching for the reaction this week to the prior week's candle. So close below one more time, 12,953. That confirms a weekly local top. And of course, a close above that prior candle at 13,348 increases the probability significantly for further upside. So the next major level that I am looking at is about 750 points away at 13.9K. That's this swing high right here from August of 2022. And if we can move and hold above this area, this high that we made last week, 13,320-ish, that is where I will be looking for price to move. So I'll be looking for a substantial move to the upside if we especially get weekly closure and confirmation above the top of the prior weekly bar. And, if we get a break or a close below the low of last week's candle, probably further downside, I would say at least, hard to say, but at least 12,750. I think this is a decent area for a test. I mean, this would, if we only came back down to 12,950, that would be very bullish. If we just came back down here, put in another low, and then continue, that would be really bullish. I would say it's more likely that we do get that like 12,750-ish area test, and even, down into 12,500. So not out of the question. Keep that in mind, but regardless, just mark up these levels, pay attention, and we're intraday traders anyway, so the weekly chart doesn't really matter a whole lot for what we are doing on a daily basis, but I feel like it is important, especially with these weekly views, to just talk about the weekly candlestick chart briefly here. So let's move on over with all of that said to the ES analysis. We're going to go back and we're going to talk about the ES profiles, and we will dig in there and make our way into the ES candlestick chart as well. All right, so let's dig into some ES now. So session profile wise, very, very similar scenario as usual, where Thursday's high is actually the value area high as well, 41.35 1/4. So that is going to be, I would say, a line in the sand moving forward, especially because there's two levels stacked up there. You can see that 41.3550 is also the overnight high from the 4th into 5th session. And it was the 41.31 was the value area low from the April 3rd session. So there are a lot of levels stacking up there. So I would like to see price move and hold above this area right here, 41.35-ish, for a very likely test of 41.4675. More confluence over here with the overnight low from the April 3rd session at 41.4750. 41.49 is the value area high from the regular trading hour session of the 3rd. So once again, when you guys see those stacking market profile levels, that is an important area. There's going to be dense liquidity there. Dense liquidity is a lot of orders. It means that if price, well, I'll put it like this. Price is essentially magnetized to areas of dense liquidity. So when it moves through one area of dense liquidity, such as this 41.35 level, it's going to seek the next area of dense liquidity where there are a lot of orders. Large players need liquidity to fill their orders, and that's why price is constantly moving back and forth between prior market profile levels, because there is liquidity left there. It's insane. It's amazing how well-oiled of a machine these markets are in regards to using liquidity and how liquidity works. Price just purely moves back and forth between levels and absorbs orders and absorbs liquidity and then moves to the next area, right? And that's why you see price just constantly moving back and forth to and from market profile levels. And that's why, you could purely just mark up the highs, lows, point of controls, and value areas from any given sessions and purely trade off of those. You wouldn't need any indicators. You could just 100% use candlestick structure and market profile levels if you really wanted to. Now, I will say, if you add tools like we have in the Trading Network indicator package and the volatility pack, that makes things even easier and removes a ton of guesswork. But these market profile levels are so valuable because it is truly a liquidity map. So before I go on a huge tangent, I am going to mention that I have a market profile course coming out very, very soon. So stay tuned for that if you guys are interested in diving more into auction theory as a whole and how you can use this, how you can learn all of the strategies that I use in market profile. I will teach you guys every single thing I know about market profile in that course. So save some time to go through that if the profile is something that you guys are interested in learning. Now, with that said, if we do not see acceptance above the high from Thursday at 41.35 and a quarter, I'll be looking for a move down to 41.21 first and foremost, and then very likely a move down to 41.07, which is Thursday's value low. Once again, very similar pattern as NQ, and you guys can take this information to really make up your own trade plans if you want. And that's how I am, or myself and Alex are creating these trade plans in the TTN Discord and of course on our public channels as well after the market opens on a daily basis. We use the market profile and we understand the implications. If price moves and holds above level X, it is more likely to move to Y and Z, right? But we must see and wait if it moves above level Y in order to judge the probability of it moving to level Z. You guys understand what I'm saying here? So use the market profile to your advantage to create a plan for a day. If you want to make it easier on yourself, again, just use our trade plans and it'll save a lot of time. But if you guys want to learn how to do it yourself, that's the way to do it. So downside pressure, I'm looking at the overnight low 41.21, then 41.0775, which once again is Thursday's value low. Then I'd be looking for a move into 40.96, which is Thursday's low. And then we've got a naked POC here on the session profile as well at 78.75. So that's what I'm looking at on a session profile basis for ES. So let's hop on over to the weekly profile now. All right, so weekly profile is going to be pretty simple on ES. I mean, 41.4250. That is not last week's high, but the prior week's high. So that's first order of business, I would say. 41.36 is our value area high from last week. So once again, just showing you guys that value is moving up on ES as well. You can see here's the value area from the week of March 27th. And then here's the value area from last week. Value is clearly moving up. So I would say, I mean, just call this like a 6-point zone between 36.50 and 42.50. And a move above that likely gets us about 20-point move up to last week's high at 41.63. And if we can move above 41.63, then we are likely going to be moving into some levels that I will talk about once I pop over to the weekly candlestick chart. So let's talk about downside. One thing I will mention is this is where we are right here, 41.30-ish. Also monthly volume composite rather. And it is lining up about 6 points above last week's point of control, similar to what's going on NQ as well. So we could once again create a 10-point zone here from 41.2650 to 41.3650 and say this is our line in the sand or our zone in the sand. And if we can move above 36.50 and hold above that, very likely that we're seeing further upside continuation. And if we break below 26.50 and get rejected, then very likely we see a move into 40.96, 40.80, and 40.73. And, you know, it's obviously one level at a time, but price does stair step down. So if 96.50 breaks, then we're likely to see 40.80.75. And if 80.75 breaks, we're likely to see 40.73.75. So treat these market profile levels like that. I call it level dominoes because that's truly how I see it. That's the best way that I kind of like visualize it in my mind is when one gets knocked over, boom, this one's coming next. When this gets knocked over, boom, this is coming next, or this is coming next. When this gets knocked over, boom, this one. When this one gets knocked over, boom, 36. You see the idea here? So it's very simple. Consistently profitable trading is very simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. Keep it as simple as possible, and that is the highest probability way that you guys will see success on a continued and consistent basis. A lot of it has to do with trading psychology. Speaking of which, thank you guys so much for all of the love on the video that I posted yesterday. First time I ever just kind of fired up the camera and started talking to the camera about trading psychology. No charts, no presentation, no nothing. So one, if you guys haven't watched that video, go back, watch the video that I posted yesterday. It is discussing separating yourself from the herd and thinking differently, which is absolutely key to consistent profitability. So once again, thank you guys, those of you guys who showed love on that video. It is, I think, my second best performing video in the first 24 hours or something like that. So the people have spoken, and more casual trading psychology videos are coming in hot where that one came from. So with that said, thank you guys one more time. And let's move on over to the regular candlestick chart here on ES. You can see the ES bars are looking a little bit less bearish. This is pretty inconclusive, right? It's a doji. It's basically the definition of inconclusive. So the reaction to this candle, whether we close above the top or below the low, is going to be very important, just like I was discussing on NQ. So inconclusive, we got to wait to see what we get. But if we do get further upside pressure, I'm going to be looking for a move probably up to like 4170, then 4220-ish. And then let's see what we got here. I mean, I really like this 4305 area right here. So I would say, I think I'm liking that. So 4171, that's last week's high. So that's first order business. Move and hold above 4171, 4215-ish. That's probably the next move. And then a move above 4215-ish. Look for about 100-point move or 90-ish point move up to 4305 or so. So that's what I would be looking for on upside. Downside, you know, the low of last week's candle is 4096. So that is going to be a very important line in the sand. I think if we even move below that low, that we're probably going to see further downside, maybe to test this weekly 50 EMA at 4077, perhaps testing the weekly 21 EMA at 4040. So keep an eye on those levels, stay flexible, stay patient, and high probability trade opportunity is coming your way, my friends. So with that said, I'll go ahead and wrap things up. I want to thank you guys, as always, for taking the time to watch this content. If you do enjoy what you see, please like, subscribe, and click that bell notification to be notified every single time we post videos here on the channel. If you guys want to learn more about what we do here at the Trading Network, please check out thetradingnetwork.io, where you can purchase access to our most popular offering, the TTN Pro Trader Bundle, which includes lifetime access to our private Discord, where we live stream Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It also includes access to the TTN Proprietary Indicator Package, as well as the Fundamentals of Futures Trading course, which includes multiple strategies for varying market conditions. Now, if you guys are interested in a more catered or tailored experience to your strengths and weaknesses as a trader, I also offer one-on-one mentorship, which you can find more information on in the link in the description below. And if you guys are interested in our automated trading suite, Quant Suite, the waiting list is now open as well. So you can join the waiting list at Quant Suite AI. And last but not least, the volatility pack is now available for free trials. So head on over to our website, check out the volatility pack. There's a link at the top, and you can take advantage of a 24-hour free trial. And if you like it, you can buy it. Thank you guys, as always, for taking the time. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video. Much love.